Good afternoon, Lois. How you doing?
Hi, good afternoon. I am doing well. I don't know. That question just hits me somehow. When people say how I do you really want to know? But yeah,
It
I'm
it
good.
it
I'm
just
good. Thank you.
I guess it. We just give the default answer that I'm fine.
Right. Yeah, but how are you doing too?
I'm okay. Yeah, I have to write down. Generally, I'm okay.
Alright.
I'm
That's
okay.
awesome. That's nice.
I kind of I was having a discussion with a friend recently, and I
Okay.
was telling him that the things I do now, currently I do now, if I'm doing them 5 years ago, I will not be happy. I'll literally hate myself.
Right.
Yes,
Right.
running around and all of those things. But it's just growth. It's just where I am now. And I just feel like, why am I having a lot of fun doing all
Then
of this and everything? It's started looking insane then. And I'm thinking you're that kind of person. I always see you online, you're always hiring for this, hiring for that. Do you like it? Yes. It looks chaotic to me.
it
Do you
is
like it?
actually. It's very chaotic. I used to tell people that I am not a front end person. I'm not a people person. I like to do my things behind the scene. But the irony is that the nature of my work means that I have to be at the front line, and you just deal with it as it comes. These days I don't even think about it. I don't overthink it. I just do it because if someone told me that I would be at the forefront of anything at all, I would say no, no. But that's where we are now, and it is what it is.
Interesting. So you call yourself an operations person, Abi?
Well, it's starting to look like it, right? Yeah, I used to be a strategy person like some 3 4 years ago, but
Okay.
again, you see that there's that gap when you create all of the strategy in the world and it's not executed in the ways that they're supposed to. So
Mm,
yeah, it just makes any strategies go crazy, literally. So I'd be like, you know what? Maybe I can dabble into operations a little bit. I used to outsource operations, but yeah, I think I'm more of an operations person and also a strategist because yeah, that's what powers the operations at the end of the day.
strategy and operations for is it for anything?
So yeah, so the nature of my work literally revolves around problem solving, right? So I like to think of any problem that I get to see or get to encounter in the line of my job. I like to look at it from a strategic angle because now you're talking about people, you're talking about growth, you're talking about resources, right? So it has to be from a strategic standpoint. So businesses have gone beyond just solving problems. There has to be a strategy that backs up the approach with which you want to solve those problems, right? So the nature of my job requires that you identify a problem first off, or the people that you intend to work with have identified the problem. You do in-depth analysis of what exactly it is and how they keep getting to that standpoint, right? Or the processes that led to them being at that standpoint. Then we now take a strategic look at it. What is the best possible way to fix this problem such that we're saving them time, we're saving them resources, and we're getting the most the best result at the end of the day, right? So yeah, so that's where the strategy comes in. Then the operational part where we now do the actual fixing, right? So I like to tell people that we're like doctors, or my team is like doctors but for businesses, right? So there's really so when you go to a typical hospital, there's a process where they first diagnose what exactly it is that is wrong with you before you now speak to a consultant and now says, okay, this is a full lineup of what it is that we think is wrong with you after a series of tests. Then we now say, this is what your problem is. We've identified the problem, and now these are the steps that you're supposed to take. So now the idea for fixing things with that same vein is the fact that you don't just identify the problems and just walk away, right? And I think that's what most consultants do.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they recommend solutions, right?
Mm,
But yeah, we take it a step
mm-hmm.
further from just identifying and recommending solutions, we actually hold your hand and fix it. So that's what makes us like a hospital for businesses, right? So we walk you through the entire process.
Okay.
We check up and ensure that every of those problems that we've identified are being fixed and they're not going to come up again. I mean, there's no doctor that is dealing with a cancer patient that would pray or hope that after chemotherapy they have to come back again.
Yeah.
So, so
Agree.
yeah, so yes. But the way it also works is that it is ongoing, right? Because it's just like our physical health or our our bodies, right? You can't say that, oh, I've treated malaria and I'm never going to treat malaria in my life, right? It doesn't work like that, especially in this
Mm-hmm.
part of the world, right? It means that every other month you have to come back for malaria, and it's not a question of the quality of treatment that you got, right? It's just the environment, same
Mm-hmm.
with the kind of ecosystem. You just have to deal
Yeah.
with this thing. So what I'm building is supposing to be that space for businesses, right? So where you get all of your fix from one place, ensuring simplified access to business solutions, everything nice, we get you fixed, you're good, you go. If there's anything else, you come back and be like, doctors, you know what, we're here again. We need to fix this. So yeah, that's literally it.
I'm guessing one of the big problems you face in this line of work is in marketing, we term it organ-led marketing, when you find a solution to something,
Yeah.
but the CEO does not like it. It does not necessarily mean that the data is saying your solution will not work. The data says your solution will work, but the CEO does not like it. It's like when you say, oh, let's use micro influencers for this campaign, but the
Mm,
CEO just like one big influencer yeah, that he or she has been dreaming of working with. And then you be like, no, that's the person I want. I want the person to just talk
yeah,
about my brand. You get, I'm guessing you face this kind of problems in your line
of
of work.
course.
How do you manage it?
Okay, so first off, so I think I personally am more of I like to look at the emotional standpoint to why people say things or do things. And I think that's one gap that most operators that work with startups or businesses they fail to understand. So while sometimes the data may present something, right, but the acceptance of that fact that you've presented to them, right, would not be accepted until you can appeal to a certain emotional part of them. So let me give a very practical example. So yesterday I had a client whom we're running influencer marketing for, and we have like a creators community where sent their sheets to them so that they can see which one of them they want to work with and all of that. After doing that vigorous process, they said that they have an Instagram influencer who they think they want to work with, and they're saying that you know what, the people that you gave us or that you've shown us over 200 creators, by the way, people that you've shown us, they look okay, but this particular person, I follow their work, and they're so fantastic, and we want to just work with them like that. And the list that we shared with them was based on understanding the kind of products that they're trying to sell. So it's us understanding that these are the kind of people that are best suited to drive these conversations, right? So I mean, so we're at the point where the team is saying, you know what, there is no way we just want to work with these guys and that's it. So it happens too often. And I have also worked in as a strategist with a company where you would bring all the brilliant ideas to stand up meetings, and the founder would say, "No way, this doesn't make sense." And we're not generating revenue every month; we're incurring more expenses every month, and he keeps saying, "No way." But one of the things I like to do is seek to understand why, right? So it may not make sense on the professional front, but I think when we sit down and have
Mhm.
conversations with people that we work with, then we're able to understand the rationale behind it. My own approach is always let's meet halfway, right? Let's meet halfway. We don't have to all agree with every single thing that we're trying to do, but let's meet halfway, right? That way we're able to still get the results that we're looking towards, ensuring that everybody is still um, ensuring that everybody they're still happy, right? At the end of the day, right? So that's exactly what we do. So when founders say stuff like, okay, so you guys have analyzed everything you want to analyze and you've seen what you want to say, but I really think that this is what will work, right? My own reflex or default response is to speak about that, let them talk extensively. So why do you think this is not going to work? Right? And when we keep having that conversation, it gets to a point where they make reference to those
Mm-hmm.
as things that they've done that did not work. So, I mean, it gets to that point that the cards
Okay.
are open. And they are saying that it's literally what we've done that didn't work. You know what? Let's just adopt your own idea. Or I give a 50-50 thing. So your ideas are great. Ours are also fact driven. Can we do like a testing,
Yeah.
right? If the entire what's it called supposed to run for a month, let's have 2-3 days where we use your own option, we use our own option and look at the one that makes the best result. At the end of the day, they want to make money. So when the results now shows that you know
Mm-hmm.
what this option works well, and we just fly with it. But the problem is that most operators don't like to have those conversations. They want to act like, oh, I'm a professional. You know how many years
Yes.
I've been doing this for 7 years, and But yeah, if they don't perceive, if they don't see it as this thing can work, trust me, it's total waste of everybody's time.
I get it. I agree with that. I've been in that shoe a lot of time, like many, many
Yeah,
times. And I was saying that say Nigerian founder, what he wants to do is what he wants to do. Or what she wants to do is what she wants to do.
yeah,
Mm-hmm. Especially or else the things he or she does not know anything about. So I think one of the I've experienced it, many Nigerian founders, or business owners generally, if they have an idea of something, they want to do it their way.
yeah,
It doesn't mean they're expert at it though. Influencer marketing, they just want influencer marketing online. They'll be like, oh, that thing
yeah,
we should do it. It might have nothing, it might have zero correlation with their own business model. But they want to replicate it. Everybody has dreams, when you're fantasizing
yeah.
about ordinary Adekola, for example. And
Mm-hmm.
then you you now have a business that you want to run influencer marketing for. You just want to use it because you really like him. You really,
Yeah,
you
it's
know,
your
it doesn't
face.
matter if the marketing person is telling you that
Mm,
that is it, that is it. Well, I want to ask you from working with businesses generally,
yeah.
what is the most important thing you think is hindering business growth in Nigeria? Is it personnel? Is it strategy? Is it execution? Is it capital? What is it?
So I really think that one of the things that stunts their growth, and that's after they have like a validated product or a service line that people really there's a need for it in the market, right? And they are able to build a product or build a service line that speaks to that need. So one of the things that I think stunts their growth is usually execution. Contrary to popular opinion, they would think it's strategy, but execution
Mm,
is is everything. I've seen organizations take months and years planning, right? We're saying, doing all of the research, doing all of the background work, and it gets to the stage where they're supposed to execute, and you see that they are they are not getting they are unable to get the hang of how to get that done, right? So that's why you look at the startup ecosystem and you see they call themselves indie hackers or indie developers, and they say they are building in public. You see someone who has less
mm,
technical experience, less understanding of how to run a business, does not have any formal education, does not have any work experience, just wake up today and say, I want to build something from A to Z and I want to hit the market in 3-4 days. And you know fully well that, I mean, logically, it doesn't make sense. You're supposed to take out time. You do research, you speak to this, you analyze, you do all of that. And you see that these people are gaining traction. You're seeing them talk about their monthly recurring revenue. And you're like, even us that
Mm,
we've been taking forever, we don't have that kind of revenue. We don't even have quarter of that. Right? That's to
mm,
tell you that
yes.
the ecosystem would the market will favor those who can execute fast. And that's one thing that most startups lack. They can't execute fast, right? They take so much time to even
Mm.
plan. In fact, the planning, if the market, how the market reacts to it is what should inform your planning, right? So I always say that just hit the market however way, as crude, as ugly, as as you want to say everything looks, right? When you get to the market, you keep adjusting on the go. But that execution thing, most starters lack it, and it just they just keep speaking English. Ah, we intend to, we will see, we will. For me, I tell my team members, it's okay to make mistakes. There's no perfect anything anywhere. We think of an idea today, we start running with it today, we start talking about it today. I've seen situations where we got clients for a subsidiary that we have not even built out. Like we don't have a team to execute. We only have the idea and we think that we can do that. And we just I came on social media and be like, you know what, da, 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 da. And immediately someone sent a DM by that same week that dropped their initial deposit. Right? No team to execute, no structure whatsoever. We just know that we want to do this for startup. And we just kept adjusting on the go, creating the systems on the go. And so far, we've not had any reason to. I mean, the client is always commenting us on public spaces, so it means that we're doing something right. So just execute. Execution is what starts kind of growth for me.
I agree with that. And one of the things I think it goes back to this conversation that
Yeah,
Shola and Exra of Paystack that they
yeah,
were having one day like that. That Ezra said Shola was we were talking about speed or
yeah,
quality,
yeah,
and Shola was like, quality is like sacrosanct. There's no going back. It's like there. It's either we do something of quality or we don't do something of quality.
yeah,
We can't. Quality is not something we could sacrifice. And I think that's one of the things we've been able to build in your team. That look, even if I call my graphics guy or video guy, oh look, we are releasing a podcast tomorrow, this and this. I don't tell, and I need them to supply everything in 3 hours. It should still be the same quality as they would if they have done it for three or like 1 week. So I
yeah,
think one of the things that we miss in marketing, in management, and business growth is we try to be like, oh, if we're too fast, we start making mistakes.
yes,
And it's not so. It's not so. It's
correct.
either you are a mistake person or you are not. It's not speed. I don't think speed affects how the
Yeah,
quality
yeah,
of your work.
yes, yes,
How are you able to build that kind of culture? Because it is a culture. It is a
yeah,
culture. If your graphic designer wants to send you stuff, for example, you will like, Miss Lois will not like this. No, it should be, it's like a culture that everybody will start having like, okay, this is the standard we are working with in this organization. This is the standard. Either we are running with speed or we are not running with speed. This is the standard and we are maintaining it. How do you build a culture of quality?
okay. So I used to think that I was a people that pay attention to detail, right? And that was one of the things when I started out my business, I was that kind of person, right? I always want to have the perfect fit go out at every single time, right? And I saw that it was the things that would take us like a week or two to just do it and get it over with were taking forever, right? So I had to first by myself
Mm,
remove that mentality from my mind. So I kind of prioritize, let's just get it done. However watery or whatever it wants to look, let's just get it done. So for my team members, I we kind of created
mhm.
an internal
Okay.
culture that it has to be done. Um, it has to be done in the simplest way possible. So if we're to create a brief for a client, or to create a strategy
Okay.
document for a client, or to create creatives for a campaign, or to have conversations with clients, down to setting up itinerary for meetings. It has to be done in the simplest way possible, such that even someone on the team who is not in their best self on that day, they're still able to function and speak, right? So there's nothing like so you work on a design. I think the basic things for us is as far as there's the important information that are there, right? As long as it's there and the color is the same color code that we've been working with so far, uh, let it go out. In fact, sometimes
Mm-hmm.
we make really important announcements going the extra. People want to launch something that's setting out press releases, that doing fancy live events, doing all of those things. We honestly don't do that, right? We may just make it with, oh, well, 5 years to do. Thank you and God bless. And everybody moves on with their lives, right? And we just keep going. So yeah, I make every of my team members see that for me, timelines are more important than getting the best delivery. I don't know if that makes sense. I've seen even terrible designs fly. I've seen terrible products
Mm-hmm.
even fly, and that's because they're building it at a time when it is needed. Not, oh, we're looking for the best designs. Most of the apps that we're using now that make sense. The initial versions of Facebook was terrible, right? Initial versions of almost any app in the world that we're using now that is viral, they were terrible, right? They kept on building on and building on as they go. So I make my team members see that it doesn't have to be perfect. We just need to get it done, and we
Mm-hmm.
just need to get it done now. That's it. So everybody just comes to that space that, okay, if Lois is asking you for a task or a delivery, just get it done. Do you understand? It doesn't have to be perfect. And trust me, we're just going to roll it out like that. We really don't care. Really do not care like that.
Did your time in media influence how you work now?
Yes, it did. In a lot of ways. In a lot of
Wow.
ways. So I think my past work experience as a broadcaster made me pay more attention to emotions and also pay more attention to how people perceive things,
Okay.
right? And those two things, if you're able to hack those two things, I really think there's almost nothing on God's green earth that you'll be able to do. So if you look at why scammers get away, right? And why there's Ponzi scheme today and people still have their monies there, is because these people are
Mm-hmm.
able to act emotions and they've been able to create a solid perception around themselves. So every single thing that I'm trying to build in my business, right from when I left full time media, right, was to ensure that we're able to appeal to the emotions of people, right? We're able to appeal to the emotions of people. So it shapes how we interact with our clients. It shapes how we deliver the things that we deliver to them. It shapes how our touch points are, right? If you follow me on social media, you'll see that I literally just tell stories. They are not perfect, um, typographical errors here and there, wrong punctuation marks in some places here and there. Not because we cannot take a second or third look at it, but these are the things that make people perceive us as human, right? We have team
Mm-hmm.
members talking about funny experiences. Some of my team members had like a movie, live movie, stage play hangout, and they're creating content there and they're posting it. It makes it feel warm, and people be like, oh, for these people to have like a really cool, funny, interesting team members, it means that they really enjoy their work and they do good work. And you look like, what's the correlation between the fact that these guys are hanging out on a free day and they are creating content about it, and the fact that they do good work, right? When people can
Mm-hmm.
emotionally connect with you, right? There's really nothing you cannot get away with. And I tell people over time. So this just shapes how we do things. Our interactions with our clients, I say, you know what? Let them have this emotional connection with you guys. If they have an emotional connection with you, it just makes it easier from there. Even situations, we've had situations where we're
Is
told
it?
a
Does it?
yes,
It has to be genuine. Must it be? It has to be genuine. Can it be fake?
you can't fake emotional connection. Well, they are very weird people who can do that. But yeah, I really don't think you can
Mm,
fake it because even while you're trying to fake it, it sells, right? People are able to know that
mm,
okay, this thing is really just for the things that they want to have with us. So for the clients that we have, I like to think of our clients as partners because that's what they've become. These are people that outside of the work that we do for them, we're genuinely looking out for them, right? We're genuinely interested in what it is that their business, what happens, what becomes of their business, even outside of the things that they're asking us to do for them, right? We try to think like them. So when you look at our strategy documents to our clients, so one of our strongest points, right? So a client to tell you in one sentence, this is what our business is, and they would think that ideally other companies would say send us a brief, create like a PRD, do all of those extras, give us in-depth, fill out a discovery form, do all of that. But for us, we just need to have like a one-liner or a one sentence of what your business is, and we're able to sit down and think like you and come up with strategy
mm.
documents that we think would help us achieve the things that you want to achieve. So we have clients saying stuff like, you guys just brought the words out of our mouth. And I'm like, okay, that's what we're saying. So from that point going on, they literally do not find fault with every other thing that we do, right? There's limited back and forth. We don't have arguments. They be like, you know what, whatever you guys think works. And
You,
they just
you know.
yeah.
I believe you just need to do one thing to secure your job, to secure your clients for like a long time. That just get one of just one thing right.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, you're very correct. Like if you can just you see that first few steps or first few interactions, if you can get it on point, trust me, you will have the most seamless interactions with your clients, like the most seamless. Just have fun. Let them feel like these people are with us, with us, with us. I've seen situations where we had campaigns, marketing campaigns especially, because that's the most unpredictable part. And we didn't
Mm,
meet up with the expectations that we had set out.
mm,
And I recall that we had conversations at the tail end of it. I would tell the clients that okay, this and this and this and this was how it played out, and all of that. Ideally, you would expect that they would say, you people were so disappointed. You know what? Let's just terminate this contract. Even after the what's it called, the timeline that we had as a lab, we still have these people saying, okay, so maybe ABCD didn't work, but it worked. Why don't we move to another phase and just intensify this
mm,
E part that worked? And everybody looks at it like, are you people using jazz
mm.
or something? But it's really what it is, right? We have been able to
Yeah,
connect with people that we work with and let them trust us well enough or have a perception that we can trust these people, right? Nobody's running away with your money. Most of our clients, we've never met them in person. They're probably from referrals from strangers who have also not met us in person, right? So you see that it's a very funny situation. But yeah, emotions and perception,
I
it just
get.
it just gets it done.
Mm, I really agree with you that emotional and perception is everything. Perception generally. I was writing a trend recently
Yeah,
about people that earn 300K, 500K, 1 million. And I was like saying that if you earn 300K or 500K, for example, you are not far away from 1 million. It's not, and I'm talking about that skill wise. Skill wise, you're not far away from 1 million. What you know is what the person in 1 million knows. Like the
yeah,
skill gap is not that, it's not large. It's very close. It's just perception. Um, I've had clients pay me 200,000
yeah,
and I've had client paying me 500. And what I'm doing for the person paying me 500 is the same thing I'm doing for the person paying me 200.
Exactly.
So it's
Right.
it's until I start seeing that, oh, the person paying me 200 does not see me as somebody he could pay 500 to. It's just perception. It's just how people see you and what they that is just all of it. And it is very much in vogue in our own space in Nigeria, for example. You go to Lagos, you see people pull up in Lamborghini for a contract. You see people go rent Prado. People like me. I always hated those kind of things. I always like, what is that? Well, as you go into the business world, you just see that it is what it
Yeah.
is. You don't have to know that you have to shape the perception. You don't leave it to the crowd to decide. Don't
Mm-hmm.
just leave your perception to people to just decide and pick. You have to let them know who you are. I agree solely with that. That if you can figure out emotions and figure out perception, yeah, you'll be good. All true.
Yeah.
You'll be good. Let's talk about hiring and firing. I know you will have hired and fired. I only see
Yeah.
you. You're always hiring and you're always hiring something on Twitter. I want a graphic designer. I want a UGC creator. You're always hiring. I know you also fire. So how do you hire and how do you fire people?
Okay. So, so the recruitment conversation is one that I find really interesting, and that's because I
Okay.
recall that I met with some of my business stakeholders, one of which was a senior partner at Nestle at the time. And I remember it was a review meeting and I was so down. I kept saying, I'm so tired of working with people who have to be told what to do. I'm so tired of having to do this,
Mm,
like they're stunting our growth. It's not making sense. And I recall that this person allowed me to sit down and ran.
mm,
Like he kept saying, you know what? Just let it out. It looks like you have so much on your chest. Let's just have it out. And after then, there was something that he said that stuck with me, and it was the fact that a business would not reach the optimal or the best numbers of talent all at once. So it's an ongoing process. You have to keep removing, adding, keeping what works, remove what doesn't work. And it was such a weird conversation for me because
mm,
I always feel attached to people that I work with. And I feel,
mm.
I don't know, there's just this sense of, well, we've been doing this together,
Definitely.
even from the point where we were not making profit and you guys were sacrificing, right? And we were just keeping these things going. And so now that we're gaining some sort of traction, it feels weird that I have to let you go due to you're not giving the results that we're looking for and all of that. But I've figured out that, and I'm going to sound really blunt and as a business person, your
Mm-hmm.
first commitment, no matter how nice you want to be, is to your business. I had to learn that the
Mm-hmm.
hard way. Everybody will get jobs. I say every time
Yeah.
that if I was doing regular 9 to 5, I'm like a
Mm,
very hot cake, right? As far as talent
mm-hmm.
is concerned. If I was doing a 9 to 5, I would be earning 7 figures comfortably. I
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't have to leave my house. I know this
Mm-hmm.
because I know what I charge for consulting, like free time I have. I know what I charge for
Yeah.
that, right? So I'm saying that even for me as a business owner, if I have to walk away, it means that I know that there are jobs literally waiting for me, offers that they are literally
Mm,
begging, come and work with us, come and do this.
mm,
So I assume that it's going to be the same for everybody that are working with
yeah.
me. If you step out today, you apply to roles. If you are good at your job, it's just a matter of few days or few weeks you're going to get a job. So what
Yeah.
happens to my own business, right?
Mm,
So I hold my business that to always have the best talent part time, right? Always have the best talent part time because again, the talents that we have is a reflection of the quality of work that we'll be able to do for our clients. So if we don't have
mm,
good
yeah.
talent, it means that we'll not be able to do quality work for So yes, there's always that need to hire and fire. So you work with someone, you give them a testing period, let them settle in nicely. We like to give that space for you to settle in so that you understand your role. I mean, we walk you through the entire process. So if you after then do not now deliver as we have expected, I'm doing both of us a favor, really, letting you go. I've gone as far as even recommend people for other roles that I think they're best suited for. That's to tell you that there's usually no strings attached. Business is business. We do what is needed for us to keep being in business, right? And if for one person's um, lack of quality delivery, right, the whole business has to go under. It's the service to every other person who are doing their jobs well, right? So imagine someone, a client has to drag us for not doing, say, social media management well for them, right? And you are the social media handler, and they fire us, and we have to let people go because we can't afford to pay their salaries. It's affecting the
Mhm.
graphic designer, it's affecting the content creator, it's affecting even the UGC creators that we're going to outsource some of these things to, right? So these things are very intertwined. So there's no emotions when it comes to hiring. So I always just open my eye and just like, you know what, guy, this thing is not working. Let's break up, you know. But then again, because of the work that we're doing is expanding by the day, so there's always a need to hire talent. Like for this month, we've already gotten a list of new sets of talents that we really need to be able to deliver. So the ministry is moving, and we need more laborers. So yeah, so
Right.
I also help talent startups personally. I have startups that always say, "Oh, you know what? Recommend your best guys. Recommend people who can fill in for this role." So every other day, I'm always posting, "Oh, we're looking for this. Oh, we're looking for that. Come and work." So yeah, I don't think it's going to end anytime soon. So yeah.
Mm. How do you hold that uncomfortable, that weird conversation when you're about to fire somebody? Say,
Okay.
how far you're about to lose your job, oh. You want to take their bread away.
So it's actually I don't overthink it really, and that's because I
Okay.
I still manage to keep relationships with people after they've left my team. So I I
Mhm.
just have those conversations. But before then, before we make that decision to let them go finally, there are conversations that happen prior to then. Conversations like, okay, we're seeing that you're not giving us the results that we're expecting, and it's dragging the entire thing backwards. Is that something that we should be providing for you that we're currently not providing? Is that something that you need? Do you need access to private courses or mentorship that will help you adjust? And we let them know it's well spelled out in everybody's conversation when we're bringing them on board. So we would have those conversations with you, and we'll let you know, as a matter of fact, that if nothing changes within this duration, it's nothing personal, but we'll have to let you go. Right, and they're all aware. So we have few conversations with them, like a review meeting. We have all of that, and we let them know that you're supposed to adjust. So we usually have performance review. So it's a conversation with you and your line manager where you go through, okay, this is what you delivered, this was what was expected of you. We look at the gap. They were supposed to create like a learning plan for you or a mentorship plan for you. We discuss that and we do that for you. So personally, because I also have access to like lots of talents, like global talents, I'm also able to call in a few favors and be like, oh, so we have this person, oh, is underperforming, oh, so we think that mentorship would work. Oh, can you please allow this person understudy you for like a few days just to walk them through how things are done, you know? So we do all of that. If at the end of the day you now do not deliver, I will hold your hand while I have a conversation and say, you know what? I think this is where we have to. let you go. And you know, we still go as far as offering lesser tasks or lesser roles for you. So if you were handling like
Mm.
a like a we look at where you are. So for instance, if someone is supposed to handle projects and operations, which are like two different things, and we have conversations with you and we see that you are doing
Yeah.
projects well, it's just operations that is not your strong suit, which is fine. So we look at how we can reshape your job description and probably remove operations and leave you with the part that works well for you. If you now eventually not work well at any one of it, we just allow you go. We just have those conversations. It's nothing. I mean, we just have you on a call and we let you know. In fact, we don't
Mm.
just send
I
sack.
get it.
We don't just send sack letters and you just see. We'll talk with you before you get those letters.
That's fine. But why do you think people get sacked? Personally, I think it's because people are not doing enough. People are not working enough.
Okay.
But from your experience, why do you think people get sacked?
So, hmm, I don't know. So for me, I would say that lack of understanding what the organizations that you're working with, lack of understanding what they really want.
Mm.
So I I
Uh,
I've I've seen
Lack
talent
of understanding of the role or what the
not
organ.
the
Oh,
road, not the road. So contrary to
okay.
general opinion, right? People feel like, oh, your job description is to do X, Y, Z. But if you look at it really deeply, there are certain things that they want you to do. So let's say, for instance, you're being hired as a product manager.
Mhm.
Your basic role is to probably interface with stakeholders, manage projects, manage development team, do all of that. But if you look at it very, very closely, some of these things borders on trust, right? Some of these things borders on trust.
Mm.
So that role
Yeah.
requires that you speak to your organization stakeholders, you speak to their clients, you speak to their partners, right? And you see situations where even people who are doing their jobs, they will say they still fired you. That's to tell you that sometimes your job alone is not enough. And people still think that is oh, it's because you're not going extra mile. No, it's not that. So for most organizations, they have goals that they've set. And probably you look at, okay, based on these goals, this is where I fit in. And you do every single thing that is expected of you. And you still get fired. And in your mind, you're like, these people, I don't know what they're expecting. If you look very closely, it's probably because they don't feel you can be trusted. It's probably because you don't respect the people you're supposed to respect. It's probably because you're a gossip.
They just don't like you.
They just don't like you. You act weird. Do you understand? It may be as tiny. Sorry, my line's just stripped. It says
Oh,
it may be as tiny as so it may be as tiny as they asked you to represent the organization somewhere and you work coat instead of suit, right? Or this person comes to work and is always sounding very uncultured, does not fit. I don't know if that makes sense. And you just see
mm,
founders just get to
mm.
that point, you know what, you have to go. So I like to think that it's more of a fit situation than it is of a they're not delivering. I don't know if you get what I'm trying to say. I've seen situations where, because we hire for startups, I've seen
I get
situations
it.
where they don't fire certain people. And you be like, ah, but this person is underperforming in terms of deliverables and KPIs. They will tell you that there's more than that KPI that this person is delivering, and there's a reason why we have them here. So until you're able to understand what is it for the organization that you're working with, right? What is that thing outside of my usual role
Mm.
that is needed for me to retain my job? For some people, for their management team members, if you don't respect your line managers, They may just say, you know what, I don't like this person and you have to go. I mean, look at Stein like, why should I, like, what's the respect about? Why should I do all of that? But people forget that there are unspoken rules in organizations. Some people like to call it office politics, but there are unspoken rules that
Mm.
you just have to play around and be diplomatic in your approach. But if you can't do that, I can assure you that even those that are doing less of what you can do will retain their job, and you that you think you're doing so much, you get fired. And there's no strings attached, really.
It's just business, bro. It's just business. People always think office politics is it's misogynistic that it's guys that are doing it to cripple people. It's patriarchy, blah blah blah.
It is what
I
it
got
is.
born, so me, I learned the, I learned the hard way now. So I
Right.
play, I play better than you. If you are, you're coming to come and play, yeah, that's it. You have to know what it is. When I tell people to read some kind of book, they'll be like, those books are bad. You have to protect yourself. You need to understand where people are coming from.
Right.
If you choose not to play, people will play.
And they
That
will
is
play
just it.
you.
Just like Nigeria. They will play you just like Nigerian election now. If you choose to like, oh, as a politician, I'm not going to do violence, so the other person will do violence now.
There's nothing you
they,
can do about it.
they will not, they won't consider that this person is not doing violence. Me too, have not, no. That you have a gun and I don't have a gun does not mean the person with a gun will not shoot you with that gun. There's no, it's the business world is it's kind of brutal like that. And it's what it is. People need, like you have said, people need to try and fit in. You need to fit in. You have to. We've seen people having to barb their hair, having to speak some type of way, having to change the way they talk. Personally, I smile to people because I don't have a very, let me say, calm face. I did not smile. If I do not smile, you'll be like, this person is trying to attack me. So yes. I lost an SUG president election because of that. So I learned that it is people. I can't just be going around and say, I will not smile. It is people. That's what they want to see. They want you to smile at them. You have to play the game. People think they are being wicked for playing it. You are not.
You're
Because if you
not.
don't play it, people will play it. People will play it. Oh. And the person that is not doing anything will have a job. And you that is killing yourself will not have a job. And you'll be taking credit for your work. It's just insane. We've seen a lot, Lois. So it's almost I think about I know, you have those kind of people? I know you understand them in your workplace. How do you how do you try to protect the ones that are naive? That you be like, this person does not know. How do you try to, as a team lead, as somebody that recruits?
So hmm, I like to I like to speak directly to people and let them know that this is the rules that everybody's playing with. And this is how I think you can adjust. I've seen situations where a line manager on my team, a line manager was not exactly doing what they're supposed to do. And when it's time for reporting, they drag their entire subordinates on that bus and make it look like they don't know their jobs, they're not doing
Mm,
anything. When in fact the
yeah,
line manager is the one not doing exactly what they're supposed to do. Right. And one of those core tasks is ensuring that everybody
yeah.
understands what they're supposed to do. So I recall that we had that kind of situation, and on the management standpoint, we're like, you know what, you're not delivering. We have tried to rectify it, it's still not working. You have to leave the team. And one particular situation became a change, a deal breaker for me, where I saw that we had to reevaluate how these things are done. And I had conversations with one or two of the people that were fired, and this was after they've been fired, by the way. And I'm like, okay, so I just want to understand
Mm,
what it really is, right? Why do you think you are unable to deliver effectively on your role? and they said stuff like, the line manager didn't assign tasks to us. We would come and ask, Ma, what should we do today? And we would not get any response. And I'd be like, so there's a possibility of you not looking good to management, not because it's entirely your fault, but because someone else is not doing what they're supposed to do. So one thing that I also always, so I have felt like, okay, so going forward, what we now do is advise those who their line managers are not doing their work well. There's a way you, it's not train your boss under the boss, but there's a way you stage manage the situation such that you obviously look like you are doing something. And every other thing that is not being done is because you don't have the directives that are needed to get them done. So let me give a practical example. So you're supposed to manage digital communications for an
Mm,
organization, right? That's what you're on board. And there's an operations person and there's
mm,
of course the founder. And you're there and you see that every other time they give reviews that you're not doing anything. You're not doing anything, right? You don't see that the problem is the person you're reporting to. The person you are reporting to does not give feedback. The person you are reporting to does not share with the rest of the team that this is what you've worked on. The person you are reporting to does not give go ahead to get these things done, right?
mm,
And you cannot throw your boss under the bus, like I said. In this kind of situation, I used to say, don't do DMs, just direct messages on Slack. Don't do it. You see the general channel where everybody's on. It's where
mm,
you post your report. I've worked on this, I've worked on this, I need feedback on this. Post it on the general platform. So now it is clear to the team, clear to management that if nothing is done on that document, it's because somebody did not sign up on it. I don't know if you get. So that way you protect yourself. You don't throw whoever is
yeah.
leaving you under the bus, and you don't
Mm-hmm.
look terrible to management. But people don't know how to manage these situations. They just be like, if the boss does not give me anything, they don't give me anything. That same boss is the person that will sign off on your sack letter, and you'll be like, no, it's unfair. Nothing is fair in love and war. So you have that same mentality, and you just go around the circles, and you'll be fine.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. Tag them everywhere, copy everybody, CC the C, CC everybody. It's not easy. The brutal word. The brutal word. Everybody is trying to save their heads from the armor. So it makes sense. I also try to, one of the things I also try to do is have one-on-ones with people. You know, yeah. If I say a digital marketing person, I'll just call him. If I say a sales person, I'll just call one-on-ones and talk to them about their work. So it's been close to 1 hour.
Right?
I would I would like to ask I will ask a this or that question from you, then we'll go to close up the show. Are you
Okay,
ready?
I am.
Teams or Google Meet?
Google Meet. Ah, please.
Root
Okay, okay.
or Esther?
Ruth or Esther. I don't know. Ruth is too followed man. Esther, please. People that know how to use what they have to get what they want. Esther.
IG, IG or TikTok?
Instagram, any day.
Wow. Twitter or LinkedIn?
This one is dicey. This one is dicey. But Twitter makes me more money, so I'll take Twitter.
Eba or Amala?
Not on a day that I am planning to go and eat salad. So if it is black amala, I will do eba. But if it is white amala, please amala, amala.
Water or Coca-Cola?
Sorry, you apricot doctor.
Water or
Coca-Cola.
Coca-Cola?
Coca-Cola.
Coca-Cola or Pepsi?
Pepsi.
Hmm. Flutter wave or paystack?
We were here on the Twitter timeline when I dragged Slaughter. But even though I'm still going to pick Flutterwave over Paystack.
Okay. Okay. Lastly, Apple or Samsung?
Apple. I don't know how people use Samsung. Apple all the way.
Okay. But I wasn't expecting you to pick Instagram. I was expecting you to pick TikTok. Many of the people I'm interviewing pick TikTok. Many
Well,
of them.
TikTok is TikTok, but I don't think I have that energy to dance and do the whole funny thing. No. Instagram is still, you can still maintain your skills and still do your stuff.
Hmm. I get, I get. That's cool. That's good. Thank you so much, Lois. It's been an interesting conversation with you. I really learned a lot talking to you. I I hope my guests, my audience will also learn some things from the show when we finally release it. But what will you say to the girl child?
Okay. So I would say that the limitations only exist in your mind, right? So the things that people say that you can or you cannot do, it becomes a fact when you decide that you can or you cannot do them. So look at whatever space you want to be in, business, politics, medicine, academics. The only person that can stop you is you. And what every other person says is an opinion. But the fact remains whatever you say the fact is. So yeah.
Thank you so much, Lois. And that'll be the end of the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Goodbye.